Maybe doing a social media campaign, explaining about the bag, the features,
Right.
the different colorways. Maybe getting some of my friends like to model the bag as well. So a mixture of gifts and images,
Okay.
uh, and then do different formats for Instagram, TikTok, and things like that. Then maybe building on something that you mentioned before, maybe getting in contact with celebrities. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll figure it out and sending it out to, or even maybe like influencers. I
Right.
don't know. Yeah, and go from there, I would say.
Okay. So I'd say let's categorize different areas of where money could go. So I guess you've got your social media,
Yeah.
and I guess you've got your marketing, which are two different things. Because I guess your social media can come under advertising as well,
Okay.
where you're doing paid ads. Then um, your marketing and your PR can be one strategy where you're targeting influencers. Um, I guess unless you're going to invest in making multiples of the same bag initially, then you're going to be loaning the product. There is collaboration. That's another area of where your money could go. There's making the tech pack, there's making the pattern and the sample, there's making the production, there's making the fabrics, there's your legal, which is the trademark or the patent, there's your website. What else is there? Let's start off with those for now. In terms of your social media, if you wanted to invest money in advertising online, I would do some tests where you do what's it targeted ads, and you need to be clear on who your target customer is, even down to age and interests. So let's say it's a 40-year-old woman interested in sustainability. She's a office worker, probably a PA to an executive. You get really specific, and then you put those parameters uh, in your, what do they call it, consumer profile when you're setting up your advert, and
Okay.
also locations, and see how much money £5 a day of ads gets you, and how many eyes, how many potential views and interactions that will get you. Because as you change it on Instagram, it will show you how many people it's probably gonna target. Um,
Okay.
and I'll do that on every single platform that you're gonna have a social media presence on. But I'm not saying to have a presence on every single social media platform, because I don't believe in that.
Okay.
And start off small. Let's say you do £100 a month. That's going to be your budget.
Okay.
And then what was the other different areas?
Collaborations, marketing, PR.
Okay, so collaborations can actually be free, but that could probably just incur postage costs where you're sending it to a bag company, sorry, a shoe company that's doing a photo shoot, and they want a bag in the background of the set. Um,
Um,
that's you paying for shipping to where they are and shipping back, or shipping to an influencer and shipping back. If you want to do influencers where you want to pay them now, that's probably going to be biggest portion of your investment where it's going to go, because good influencers, actually, no, I won't say good. I'll say the established influencers, because good is subjective. They'll charge you about 3 grand. The ones that have management will charge you about 3 grand for a post. Now, that's only a good use of your investment if that post gets you 9 grand worth of sales. But obviously, you're not going to know that beforehand. It's just that the hope is that will get you 9 grand. Even if it gets you 6,000, or the very worst, your money back, then it's a learning curve. There are Instagram influencers that will not charge you, but it's whether or not they're the right people to promote your product. Because what I tend to look for now is not how many followers the influencer has, is an amount of engagement that they have, an amount of views against the amount of followers. So if they've got, I don't know, 2,000 followers and they've got 5,000 views on each of their reels, then that's pretty damn good. As long as they're not buying views. But those things you can easily deduce whether or not they're buying views and comments and stuff. So I guess you would decide then if you're gonna do a loan of the bag to that influencer, or if you're gonna do a gifting. But if you're gonna gift, there needs to be a contract in place that for this bag, I need X amount of images or videos in return.
Okay.
By a certain date. With you tagged into every single one. Because we've gone through this issue with PR companies and things just haven't been clear, and this has cost us thousands, where there's stuff that happens in the background that my followers don't even know about, that really just pisses me off, but it's part and parcel of the business, where we send stuff to celebrities, they've posted something god awful, but it's not been what I've expected them to post. And that happens just because of lack of communication, clear communication. So this is where contracts are very important, especially when money isn't being exchanged. Now, in terms of percentage wise, if you wanted to go there, I'd say your influencer strategy is going to be like 30% of your overall.
30%.
Yeah. So, and then maybe 10% for your social media of your overall budget. And I'm saying this regardless of what that budget is, because you can have like, I don't know, 2 grand and make it look like you spent 5. You can have like 50 grand and it looks like you spent 5. Going back to your samples, so your production is probably going to be another 30% of your overall budget. Samples, patterns, and tech packs, that might be 10 to 20% of your overall budget. What are the other areas? Because we've got another, I think, 10%.
There's the website,
Yeah.
fabrics, legal.
Website's going to be probably about 10% of your overall budget. Fabrics comes under the 10-20% for your patterns, samples, tech packs. So you decide how you're going to distribute that across that percentile.
Okay.
And then your pattern probably going to be 5 to 10%, depending on how many regions you want to get protected in. Yeah. So your two big ones are your production and your influencer marketing.
Another one about finances. Let's say it all goes well, and the strategy goes well. I sell out all the bags.
Yeah.
How does that work in terms of with the money that I've made and then reinvesting it back into the business?
Well, I mean, it's completely up to you because you probably what I would do is just keep on reinvesting for at least the first 5 years. And then see if because I guess you want to work your way up to paying yourself a salary.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. I would at this stage try and identify what figure I'd want to pay myself that is reasonable for me to live on and then still keep my business afloat. And I think if you continuously reinvested for the first 5 years, then the aim is that by year 5 you can pay yourself a salary and a dividend by that year 5.
I know that dividend is to do with shares, but how does that work?
Well, yeah. So the salary will be I think it's like £12,500 is the tax threshold for not being taxed in the UK. It's around about that figure. So I divide that by 12. So that's how much you get paid each month. I think it works out about just over £1,000 each month.
Okay.
So that after that first £12,500, anything over that you get taxed on. So instead of paying yourself £2,000 a month salary, where you get taxed on the whole two grand, you pay yourself the salary first, and then the dividend if the company makes any profit, and you get taxed on the dividend. But this is where you need an accountant to go through the specifics of that.
Okay.
But it's a very common thing. So it's legal. You know, it's where a lot of directors pay themselves. That protects themselves and the business.
Okay. And when would you say would be a good time to get an accountant to go through these things?
I would say from now, really, even though things might seem small. I think having someone to give you legal advice and financial advice from day one is never a bad thing. It might seem expensive in the early days, depending on how much money you're making, but because I guess you want to know how to make money, and part of knowing how to make money is knowing where to make savings, and a good accountant will help you do that. I mean, if you can't afford it now, what you can do is get like one-off tax advice from a reputable accountant. They have to be qualified.
Okay.
Ask them, I guess in a session like this, ask them as many questions as need to that will see you through that first year of running a business. Have you done any kind of photo shoot yet for your?
I've done with the previous bags that I made that I tried to sell at the work fair.
Okay.
I'm quite good at taking pictures, so I will be doing that myself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable with that.
Are
Yeah.
you doing the styling as well?
Um, when I took the pictures, I just took pictures of the bags. I didn't have any people with them, if that makes any sense. But yeah, probably that's something I need to consider.
Yeah, because I think because you're going into like the luxury market, it's worth if you say you're confident with your abilities taking photographs, having at least a stylist,
Okay.
a really good stylist would help with the execution from the point of view of the customer. Because you being the designer, your role should be focused on purely the product.
Okay.
Um, so like, do you use photography lights?
Um, Not really. I work mostly with natural lights. When
Okay,
I was taking pictures of the bags, I worked with some artificial ones, but
okay.
not that much. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, because like a stylist, they'll help you create a body of work that is
Mm.
to a good or an exceptional industry standard, but that we can sit your photography next to your competition and it's got its own identity, but it doesn't look compromised in terms of quality. On that note, who are your key competitors in the market?
Um, I don't know. Um, uh, I would say anyone that makes unique bags, but
I mean that's like a really important question to answer, um,
okay.
because like at this stage you may not want to sell to a retailer, but again it boils down to how the customer sees it.
Yeah.
They they want to buy from they want alternatives. So if you say that your bags are competing with Hermes or Coach or a Dior bag or something, then you have a better understanding of how to market yourselves to compete,
Okay.
um, to get that caliber of customer. That's why that question's so important. Um,
Okay.
you might say that your bag is your competitor is a Zara customer, M&S, or what's there? I don't know, Bershka, or I don't know, where that's more high street.
Yeah. I would say then similar to that. Again, I forgot his name, but the designer that did the tote bag with
Yeah,
the triangles.
yeah.
So it's a play on something that's everyday, but it's like a piece of art that people take with them.
Mm.
So yeah, I would say yeah, probably he's an
Okay,
example.
cool. So it's really important to find out the name of that designer.
Yes.
Find out what their price point is.
Yes.
Find maybe two or three other designers that are in that same caliber.
Okay.
Um, because as designers, like we exist to design something that hasn't been done before, and that's where we take pride. But the way the customer digests it and the way buyers digest it is that they almost want to be able to categorize you so that um, if you're sitting down with the head of buying the top shop for accessories, they want to know that you've done your research and identified three brands on their shop floor that your product can sit bang on next to
Okay.
and that will either boost everyone's sales or mean that you'll get sales in line with those other brands. They don't want to see your brand as a risk, yeah, not if they're buying from you first time. They, I think seasons down the line, that's when they will allow you to take risks with new kind of limited edition products. But if they give you a space in their store, they want a cast iron guarantee that there's going to be sales. And the way they gauge that guarantee is based on how, the understanding that you demonstrate to them. And this would be you sitting on the shop floor. This is way before you got a meeting with them. You sitting on the shop floor for like half a day and assessing which brands are in your category that they're selling, um, what level of interest is going into each product, what kind of customer is being attracted to which particular product. Um, it This might be a bit more difficult to do is seeing which bag is been chosen to be taken to the sales counter and going to them with these figures so they know that you studied the business and almost done their job for them. Yeah. I think the nearest to the escalator is where you want to be in terms of a shop floor. Those
Okay.
all that kind of positioning that you'd want. And also, when it comes down to, or is it even down to social media? You know how it gives you recommendations of brands that are accounts that are like yours. I
Yeah.
think it's important in that respect as well.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
describe to me who your customer is.
um, my customer is someone in their 30s
Okay,
plus, or maybe a little bit younger, but that's got a stable income.
right,
They're interested in sustainability, making smart choices in terms of making purchases and not so much focusing on fast fashion.
right,
Um, Buying pieces that last,
mm,
but also have an identity of uniqueness to them, something that they all buy and makes them feel special. Maybe in the same way when people reference the little back dress. So
right,
people might not have tons of dresses, but they'll have those one or two key pieces that makes them feel special, whether they will take them to a special event or to an everyday outing. It will change the tone of how they feel about themselves, how the day goes. So it'll be like a piece of art that they can, utilitarian piece of art that they can take with them.
right,
And yeah, maybe the other thing that I was thinking as well is maybe on the line of fast fashion, not do too many seasons. Because I know in fashion there's usually spring, summer, and so on.
right,
So maybe it's running a particular design for a specific amount of time. It could be like a year or two or so on, but not so much going on the route of bringing something new every couple of months and
okay,
focusing more on something that people can buy that's special. They know when the next piece comes out, it will be special again, but it's not something that happens in a frequent basis.
okay.
Um, yeah, that that's where I'm heading
All
right
right, cool. So it's great that you've pinpointed this element of you want your bag to be a piece of artwork. And you said that the target customer is about 30 years old, right?
now. Yeah.
What portion of 30-year-old women, what percentage are interested in art?
I guess it
This
depends.
isn't a trick question, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it depends on their interests
Okay.
because you can get people that like do say architecture or art related courses or professions
Yeah.
that are interested in it, but then you've got people that have completely different lives but they still enjoy art. So I would say it would depend on how interested they are in terms of having art with them.
Okay.
Because I think the obvious one would be people that are already in that kind of field or that kind of interest. But some people are not really in that area, but they see value in it, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure how I would quantify that, but
Okay.
yeah.
If I add on to it, what percentage of women around their 30s are interested in art pieces and can afford luxury fashion? What percentage would that be?
Um, I would say just in luxury fashion is probably quite high because a lot of people in their 30s are already more established.
Okay.
So they can afford to splurge more and buy more full pieces.
Okay. Good.
So
That's a good answer.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
Because I guess what I'm trying to do is get you to justify the
Yeah.
correlation between your product and the target market, because it's something that it's a mistake that I've made where I realized that the women that were buying my products at one point were considerably older than I initially not wanted but had thought, and much of that was down to do with the price point.
Okay.
Um, so you then make a decision: are you gonna change how you're gonna speak to the customer online differently because you got this newfound information that you might be speaking to an older market and you want to kind of you want to capitalize on that, or you're going to change how you're going to approach because you want to alienate the people that have been buying your products because you're very much married to the idea that you want to pitch to a younger market.
Um, I don't know. I think there's again I'm being idealist, but there's room for changing that.
Mm.
So if my bag will be like on a Lux market price point, it'll be
Yeah.
people that are more established, people that have money that can afford it.
Mm.
Um, maybe if I build enough momentum, you can then influence other age groups to get it.
Okay.
Um, the first thing that came to mind is that massive mug thing that everyone has.
Mm.
I saw something on YouTube once, but they were saying that they weren't really making a lot of money. They were going to discontinue it.
Right.
And I think it was like a mom in America that she was really fond of those things, and she, I think, made a post.
Okay.
And now most people from most age groups, at least in America, they walk around with that mug. So it started with her age group, and then it spread out. So hopefully something I can do, but maybe I can just focus on like you were saying, what my product and the price point dictates, which is that particular age group of people like in their 30s and 40s plus.
Mm.
And then hopefully it'll make enough of a splash to influence other age groups to find interest in that and aim to get it as well.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Um, have you done any kind of focus groups with your target customer yet, or?
No, I haven't done anything.
Mm.
No.
I mean, it might be worth doing one at some point, whether it's you cover understanding the psychology or you cover what their opinions are on the design of your product.
How would I go on about doing focus groups? Do I just get friends of friends, or do I get complete strangers?
Well, whether they're friends or strangers, they need to fall in line with your customer profile to an exact T. So that's where I would probably say write down your customer profile first, one or two
Yeah.
sites that aim for, and then go out hunting for 6 to 8 women that are that target customer.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they're the only opinions that you care about, really.
Thank you.
Then we can probably, I don't know, see if you can get them through LinkedIn or your social media following.
Okay. I think that was all the questions that I had on
Okay.
my end.
It's a couple more for me then. In going back to your design, because I know you've got one product at the moment. So talk me through what the future of your line is going to look like. The product line, that is.
Yeah, I would say it'd probably be like a medium size bag. I think it's a good size to start
Okay.
because it's not too small and it's not too big either. So it's something that will fall with most people's in terms of use. Even if they've got a couple of things, if they really like the bag, they walk around with it happily. But if it's too big or too small, there's no point in having it. So I would say like starting with a medium size. Um, maybe I have to make like a big splash, so it has to be a shape or yeah, I would say more on the shape. It has to be something that catches your attention instantly.
Yeah, I'm just
I
going to
can
check it.
I can do something more simplified, maybe in the future. But I think to start off, it has to be something that has impact.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm going to the Lux market.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where I would start, I think. And then in terms of colors, maybe 2 or 3 colorways. I know black is quite popular.
But how about how do you see the product range expanding over the years?
Oh, expanding. I see expanding so starting with the medium, I'll see expanding to different sizes,
Right.
depending on what the market needs are. Maybe once I build a customer base, I can start to do questionnaires
Right.
and things like that from the customers to see what they're hoping to see in the future.
Okay.
Maybe expanding on accessories as well, like wallets, little trinkets to accessorize the bag. Maybe even the straps as well. Doing different things to customize it. Because if I'm going on the take of it being a piece of art, maybe it's a piece of art that the customer can collaborate with by picking something that they also enjoy.
Okay.
And um, and also going on that price range, if I'm then hoping to attract a younger customer base, they might not be able to afford the bag, but they can maybe afford the key ring or the wallet or something like that. And
Okay.
it'll be something special that they keep and then it builds on from there. What else? Um, maybe going more into international markets, making the brand more recognizable. So going on the idea of having like a shape that's very specific. If people see like a Chanel bag, they know immediately it's a Chanel bag, even if it's like a copy. So that's the kind of branding that I'm hoping to achieve. So once that look has like an established brand, doing variations of that will still identify it back to the original.
Right.
And then maybe down the line, I can do more risk of like limited editions, something that looks completely different, but maybe like for a set of customers, like maybe like just 5 or 10 or something like that, like a special edition. But they'll be like further down once I have like a settled
Okay.
run of customers. And yeah,
Have you heard of the range plan pyramid?
no,
So it's some of what you said just touches upon it, where
okay.
with the collection that you do, whether each collection that you do, 20% of it is going to be concept based, so very avant-garde, and that's where I see the idea, your showpiece bag that is based on art, and the raw concept might even sell for like, I don't know, 5, 10 grand if it does ever sell. And based on your background of architecture, you can fuse your knowledge there into this bag. And that's going to be a conversation point, like a wow factor for your brand. Because people would want to know more about you from this architectural piece. And then the next stage is signature, which is 30% of your range. And that's where probably the bag that you have just shown me,
Okay.
where outside of the logo, there's a key signature detail that even someone who's not a customer of yours will identify is your brand. And I guess as the product expands, that signature detail will be prevalent in everything in the range. Then finally, there's the basic part of the range plan, which is normally makes up the majority, so about 50%.
Okay.
And this is entry-level products that are cheap to produce and quick to sell, that almost like they pay the bills, they keep things afloat, they fund the more creative part, the signature and the concept part. So I think you said key rings, right?
Yeah, key rings, wallets, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
So
Yeah.
it might not be the reason why you started to design a bag, but it's a shrewd business move because it keeps money coming in. Yeah. So it's something to consider in terms of the future growth and expansion of the business from the product range and what products you
Okay.
choose to launch to market, and how you self-fund the business.
Thank you.
So any other questions that you want me to cover?
Um, I think that is it really. I've got a lot to. Oh, sorry, I just thought of. Do I have to do a business plan, even though I'm not really looking for investors in things like that?
Not necessarily. I think what is like having a business plan is never a bad thing.
Mm.
I think that as creatives, we probably struggle to do a business plan more than most. I think if you want to do a shortcut to a business plan, is, like I said earlier, where you write for the next 3 months, one thing that you can achieve in every week. That's going to be 12 solid targets. And if you want to be more brave, make that 2 solid targets each week. So by the end of the third month, you've got 24 key things that you've achieved.
Okay.
That will keep you accountable. I think in a more effective way than doing a business plan at this stage.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is it really. I've got a lot to think about. I need to collate all this and draw the 12-week plan.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been really, really helpful.
I think one of the advantages that you have, which maybe you don't realize, is the fact that you've got the architecture background.
Okay.
Because that gives you a creative discipline that is beyond fashion. And I find that just having the fashion degree isn't enough. Sometimes it can be a hindrance. Using your skills outside of fashion, I think, create the best results.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you know about my story, but I found my fashion degree to be a waste of time. And it's only because by the time I realized that it was too late to quit, otherwise it would have been a waste
Mm.
of time, waste of money. Um, and it was just better just to carry on. But from the point that I realized that it was a waste of time, I put certain things in place to that I hoped would work after I graduated. There wasn't a guarantee that it would have worked, but it was just this is now that I've realized this is my action plan, and hopefully see what comes of it. And I think that when I got the contract with Topshop and ASOS, some of that was luck. Like uh, I was having this conversation with my dad, like I think it was last year. Like my dad's generation believe that hard work um gets you results. And I don't believe that. I think, especially in our line of work, some of it is luck, just the right timing. Um, and I think that your your outside skills make you a better designer, because I think that the outside influence makes you see things better.
Okay.
So yeah, so just make sure that nothing deters your confidence. Learn as much as you can, but keep that confidence level at 10.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely take all this on board, and hopefully in 12 weeks, I have a good plan in the bank.
Yeah, sure. I mean, keep us updated with your progress.
Yeah,
You've got my email now.
yeah,
But yeah, good luck with it all. And yeah, just remember that everyone's on the same journey. Like it may seem that some people are doing better or further than the next one, but we're all trying to make our mark in the world. So
yeah, definitely. Thank
mm.
you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Well,
Really
enjoy the rest of
appreciate
your
it.
Sunday.
Yeah, thank you.
Love meeting
You
you.
too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.